But then I saw Jakob like watching Josh Kerr race and like giving him some shit.
What was he saying?
Literally saw like this Kenyan like throw his pants down. He's wearing like tidy whities underneath, and he like brings his shirt up. Me, like, I always hate on people who do well.
Wait, what? Yeah. Okay.
Like, I always find like some
You'll
reason
find
to be
something
like,
to pick on.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we have full-time medical student, full-time athlete, some would say modern-day Roger Bannister. He'll help deliver your baby and then run a 352-mile. Dr. P, also known as Cameron Proceviat.
The GOAT. The GOAT of Burnaby Mountain.
The GOAT of Burnaby Mountain, yeah.
Cat man, how's Worlds? Can we just get into that?
Yeah, it was quite a big experience. As most people know, it started out with me actually not making the team. And then I had about a week of being like pretty sad. You guys saw me at practice.
Yeah.
Pretty upset with myself, being like, wow, reflecting on the season, you know. And then I got the call up and got to go. Was one of the last people in. And I was like, yeah, book me my ticket. I'll figure out school. Yeah, really glad I got to go.
Yeah. For more of the people that like kind of don't know this stuff, like what kind of went into you not making the team? Like what kind of happened there?
Yeah, so the World Athletics changed their system for accepting athletes this year. I was like, I guess this is the same as the Olympics last year. So they had a standard, which was 3:35.00, and they were expecting about half the field to make the standard. And then with the additional 24 or whatever people, there would be world rankings. So that's like an average of your top 5 races. And then like you get a ranking score from that, and then they go down the ranking list. And so I was ranked 49th, and I needed to be ranked 45th to go to Worlds. And yeah, so I didn't think that would be good enough. And then fortunately there were some scratches, maybe like 5 scratches or something. And I snuck in. Yeah. I actually got a call that I think it was like July 6th. And I thought that July 4th was the cutoff date. And it was like a random number from Toronto. And I didn't answer it the first time because I just thought it was like a scammer, you know, when you get those random things. And then they called again, and it was like 9:00 at night. And then as soon as they picked up, I knew the girl on the phone who was from Athletics Canada, and like heart started going. I was like, oh no, this is not happening right now. And yeah, said yes right away. They put me on the list, and then I had to figure out school that night, and fortunately got it off.
That's a little hectic though, right? Because originally, I think you told me you like booked time off for school, then you had to book it, like you had to say, okay, no, actually schedule me for the hospital shifts, and then come back and ask for it again. Yeah.
So I originally got my absence that I'd been working on for a long time, moved to August so I could go to NACAC.
Yeah.
And then got it moved back, and then also was like, hey, just a clarification, I'd still like to go to the Bahamas if that's an option. And luckily the guy who was dealing with it was a pediatrics doctor, because I'm doing like 6 weeks of pediatrics now.
Yeah.
He was like, you only get like experiences like this a couple times in your life, and you're only like good at something and at the top of your game like a couple times in your life, so you just gotta go take full advantage. And he fully supported it, so they were nice enough to give me 2 trips off.
Yeah. So that's what's next then? You're going to NACAC that's in August?
Yeah. So I was actually, when I finished like the Canadian season and I didn't think I was making it to Worlds, I was like super excited to just put in a solid training block and go into NACAC and just like right my wrongs in a way and run fast. And then I was actually a little bit disappointed because I had to delay my return to like working hard for another 2 weeks or so while going to Worlds. And like that was my initial thought. I was like, I just want to like get in better shape.
Yeah.
I have to go into Worlds and keep tapering and stuff. But then it all worked out. I'm pretty happy overall, and happy I got to go to Worlds.
Yeah, man, that seemed like a sick experience. We all were just supporting from our couches while you were up there on the track. I just want to get into that. Like, how was it? I seen before the race, you guys are all put into like a tent, and you're just kind of like chilling and looking across. And I mean, you're looking across people like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how does that feel when you're just sitting against the best in the world?
It is kind of surreal, and I think that I was very blessed to have World Indoors, to have that experience first off, and kind of just get over that hump. Mm-hmm. But it is wild. Like, you get about half an hour before your race, they start calling out like heat, whatever, of the 1500, come in. And then you sit in this place for like 5 minutes and everyone's doing their things. And there you are, like, I think Tim Chariot, he was late. Like they had a final call, right? And then everyone in the room's like, oh, is Tim not here? Did he scratch? Like saw him working out or warming up, whatever, right? This guy comes in like 2 minutes late, just saunters in. Like he's playing head games probably, right? Sits down, he's fine, right? And it's just kind of surreal. Like you see, I think in my heat I had Tim Chariot, Ollie Hoare, Cooper Tier, you know, and then like that's just amongst another couple of good athletes. Yeah, you leave that tent, you walk down another hall and sit somewhere else. It was kind of stressful. They're like, hey, you have 5 minutes, get your spikes on, give you a new number, go to the washroom if you want to right now, and there's like no time for strides, right? And so like the overall process of getting to the track takes about 20 minutes. And yeah, I think World Indoors gave me that experience, and this time I was a lot more calm. Like I was trying to make jokes, and pretty sure everyone in the room kind of hated me. I was actually talking to Cooper because I had a race with him at Oregon. I remember you were there. And then we had that big rainstorm, right? And then he goes on to run World Standard, and I was in the tent being like, I bet you're hoping for a rainstorm right now. Hopefully something like it clearly worked for you.
No, because that was a crazy race, that one. It was like nothing, well, a little bit of like drizzle here and there. But then, the second you get up on the line, like it just...
it just goes crazy.
You think that like the fact that you train up here on Burnaby Mountain and like the weather's kind of unpredictable, you think that it plays a role at all, like being ready for like just the randomness of races?
I mean, I didn't have a great race that day. And as a lot of people know, that I complain a lot about the heat, and luckily on the days of the heats it wasn't too hot. But we do get quite a bit of weather up here, mostly on the cold end, and I think I adapt more to the cold than most people, but still, it's not ideal if you want to run fast.
It was pretty hot up here during Canadian Nationals. You guys were wearing some like ice vests during that. How was the weather like in Oregon? Was it similar or?
Not quite as hot for my race days. I think it got hot like Monday, Tuesday, and I raced on Saturday, Sunday. The day of my Saturday race was actually pretty cool out, and it's kind of like here where it takes like half the day to warm up, so it never got too hot. But I don't know.
It was like perfect weather.
It was pretty perfect weather for the first day, and then that along with like, I don't know, the whole build up, and then I'd run into Hayward before, and it's like an unreal stadium. But that along with going out and seeing like full crowd, seeing like you up on the big screen, and like my parents got tickets right beside the 1500 start. So like I said hi to them, but like it was pretty overwhelming. I'm not too emotional, but I actually got like a little bit of something in my throat for a second.
Wow.
Like, holy crap, this is wild. Well,
because you've been at it for like a long time, right? Like I maybe we'll get into that a bit. Like a lot of people maybe don't know, like high school, you know, like you were like doing high jump and things like that, right? Like so you've just been working from kind of like the bottom all the way to like the top now. What was that like, kind of walking on to the SFU team and having like, you think you're like a high jumper, and all of a sudden Britt's like, no, you're gonna be running like the 8:15?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like my first practice at Mundy Park, I remember the workout was like 3 2Ks. Just for reference, I guess you guys would know more than me, but the first rep, Natasha Wodak, she used to train. She's like a Olympic marathoner. She used to be in our training group, and I was doing everything I could to stay ahead of her for this 2K, right? And that's a challenging loop. So I went way out of my comfort zone trying to stay ahead of her. And then on the second one, tried to stay ahead of her again and just got absolutely dusted. And was like, okay, I am not very good at this sport.
Had that exact same experience, because I trained under, like back in high school, under like Lynn Kanuka, and she was training Natasha at that time as well. And we were at a park in White Rock, and I was doing like 800 repeats because I was only in like grade 9 or 10 at the time, and she was doing miles, and it was like the same thing. Like I'm going all out to try and keep up through 800, and she's like doing a mile, just absolutely dropping me. I was like, holy cow.
She's got such a quick cadence too, like, and she makes so much noise when she's breathing. You're like, oh, okay, she's dying, but then she just keeps.
She doesn't stop. It just is like relentless.
Yeah. So Cam, when you were going into SFU, like graduating high school, what were your times looking like in the 800 and the 15?
So I didn't run any 1500s, and
Really?
I ran 800 in like 206. I remember. I think before the 206 race, which honestly, like, that was the most lactic I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like when I wasn't well trained and I went and ran that 206, because I remember that the years after, I was always like, oh, I have more in my system, because I never went that all out. Where like the 206, like everything in my body was dying. But before that, like, I wasn't really focused on track. I remember one track meet, I like was at a rugby game, because that was like more of my sport at the time of the year. And then like after the rugby game, just like go to Swangard and hop in the meet just to like qualify, run like a 217 or something.
Yeah.
Like no idea about times. Like I was comparing my times to when I ran as a JD, like 238 or something. I was like, oh, I'm way ahead of that. Like, not realizing that I was like more of like a grown man versus like a child at that point, but still being like, yo, I'm so much faster than I used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, like was so naive, running 206, and then still like to cross country training camp. I brought my track spikes. Like I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna need these. I don't know where the track in Whistler is, but like just in case, bring my track spikes, you know.
Yeah, and it was I seen, like, when I was watching Worlds, we seen a Canadian flag, right? And it said Moscrop #1. Can you just explain that? Because it was in almost every single start of a race. You see that?
Yeah. So I saw that too.
Okay.
And multiple people were messaging me being like, who's this guy? Like, is that for you? And in my head, I'm like, this guy's always behind the sprints, you know, like he had that flag in the 100-meter finals, the 200-meter finals, and he was always there. So I was like, there's no way if someone was like cheering specifically for me that they would pick Moscrop to be the thing that they like try to get my attention with.
Yeah.
So after like so many people asking me, and I thought like, oh, maybe it's something to do with Aaron Brown because he was in all those finals. I reached out to my high school coach, who doesn't coach at Moscrop anymore, and was like, yo, what's the story? Like, do you know who this guy is? And then he said that there's just this, he actually said in the text, he's like, Algerian social studies French teacher or something like that. And he goes to these meets, he's like a super track fan, and he puts the flag up to like show his students after. So it actually had nothing to do with me. Yeah, it was like just this random teacher that was there past my time, and apparently he goes all over the world to go to these track meets. And by the time I figured that out and was like, oh, I should actually just go say hi to this guy, it was too late. Like I was leaving the next morning, and yeah. So maybe I need to go visit my high school and say hi to this guy, or maybe I just make Worlds next year and say hi to him.
Yeah, because you're a bit of a superstar now coming from Moscrop, and I mean, what are the chances that he's from the same school with a Canadian flag repping, and it says #1? So.
Yeah, I know. I'll just take it from now on, right? Since I'm sure it's that Moscrop, because before I was like, yo, it could be any Moscrop.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's your same high school.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, got anything?
Yeah, I guess the next thing I was going to ask is like, so yeah, we talked about kind of coming into SFU, running like 206 and 8 and things like that. What was your progression like, I guess, your first few years? Like, how hard did that first year of like, I guess, proper training actually hit you?
Like I said, I was just super naive to the whole sport. And I think early in cross country, like this is when I was like a 206 runner, I saw my high school coach who... Besnik Macy, I don't know how to say his last name, but he coached me for about a month because he was a coach at another high school like in New West, and we competed against them. He coached me for a month before BC high schools, and then when I saw him in cross season, like running terribly at the BC cross thing, he's like, I think you're gonna run 155 or 54 this year, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, okay, sure, I'll do that for sure. Like not realizing like 206 to 154 is not like a normal jump.
Yeah.
And I think like coming into January, I was doing strides, and then that's when Britt finally was like, hey, this guy could be good. And she told me, she's like, wow, you're progressing really well. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to run 154 this year. And she's like, maybe not. Like that's pretty fast. And like at the time, the fastest guy on the team was like 154, right? Yeah. And there I am like running 4-minute Ks in Mundy Park, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna run 154.
Did you end up running?
I ended up running 154.99.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and I had no idea though. I was just like out there running.
So I just want to say, so for the people that don't know, could you just like say your PBs right now in all your events, including high jump?
Yeah. So unfortunately, high jump's the one thing I went down in because I had like a 180, I think, 1.8 meters in high school, and then did high jump once at the UBC SFU dual meet, and I got cut off at 150. Like we just had to cross one, like I had to go over one bar so that I could secure fourth place because of the scoring or something like that. I actually made G-Nex with that. Like I was in 20th place for the conference meet, and I asked her, I'm like, can I do it? She's like, no. So that went down, but going up 800, I've run 148, 1500, 336 mile, 352, the nice Boston track one.
Your Canadian record.
And then 3K, 747. And I'd prefer not to say my 5K time because next year I'm going to obliterate it.
Exactly.
So I've run one 5K and I was a little sick when I did it. And this was before my breakthroughs, so
I'll just switch with lows.
Doesn't count.
I'm gonna pull in here. Ask some questions. I was behind the camera, but
Just make a bit.
yes.
Like Gabe.
No, bro. Yo, talk a little bit about that mile though. The indoor mile you had. Obviously, we're going kind of like a couple months back, but how did that feel in Boston? 352 mile.
That was, I can't say anything other than just a little bit wild. Like, if there was any one thing now looking back over my year where I was like, okay, I've actually become an elite athlete, it's the fact that I can look back and be like, I have a Canadian record.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, and like I know it's an indoor one and it's like a less run distance, but just the fact that it's like a Canadian record.
Well, also like
pretty cool.
352 is like 352 regardless if it's indoor or outdoor. Like that's no joke of a mile time.
Yeah.
The fact that there was only Josh Kerr in front of you, that was the only athlete in front of you, that's pretty cool too. I feel like.
Yeah.
I was on the line watching you and I was like about to race right after and I was like losing it.
Did that just happen?
Everybody was trying to focus because we were like heat 2. And I'm just like, let's go. I'm like, no way. I'm like, what? I'm like looking at the time. I'm seeing you like pass everyone because like tactically how you ran that was really interesting. Like, I don't know if you want to expand on that, how you actually paced yourself to run the 352 because you already knew some stuff before and you used that to your advantage. I don't know, like, if you want to expand on that.
So I kind of learned this first from Charles, like, who's a very good 1500 runner in Canada.
Charles Philbert-Thibouteau, for those of you that don't know, he was in at Worlds with Cam as well for Canada.
Lord CPT.
CPT, yeah.
So one of my last 1500s last year, when I finally got put into like a field that I felt like was competitive or more competitive for me, he was like, you need to just go into gaps, you know? And I originally heard that the pacing for that was going to be like 155 through 800 or 809. And I was like, okay, that's a little fast. So I'm going to put myself a little bit back. And then just as soon as gaps form, just go in the gap, right? So I was kind of near the back. And then, but it was just not worried at all. And just every time I saw someone start to move a bit further back or like there'd be a little bit of space, I'm like, go in that space. And then that just ended up getting me up into second place by the end. I had no idea how fast I was going.
But you knew how fast they were gonna go before, right? We had some talks, you know, like some Brooks Beast guys were like trying to like go pretty fast before.
So that's what they were saying, like 155, and I'm like, oh, that's a little too quick for me at the time. But I just remember seeing like 158, 159 or whatever it was.
Whoa,
and then I just did not even contemplate the splits. Like in the past I used to be like a lap to go, like, oh, I gotta run a 60 to run this. I remember in my head with a lap to go, it was like 324, right? And there was nothing in my head that was like, what do you need to run fast? Like I was just looking forward and being
competing,
like,
purely
wow,
competing.
You look like a rocket. I remember seeing it like again, they were kind of a little focused on Josh Kerr, but then like they get these angles and it's just like there he is, just absolutely clawing down the backstretch. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Because that was two national records in the same race, right? Because Josh Kerr got his national record as well, I believe.
Yeah. So he got his UK one, and then I got that. And unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't matter now, but I was hoping for a little bit more like love from Flow Track and stuff. But
straight up. Flow Track, step your game up, man. Look at Canadian athletes, bro. Come on, guys.
But yeah, since then, it's like that's been a really, really high point of this season. And after that, I finally was starting to get into races with like top US pros, whereas before I had to like be in the second, third heat and kind of like prove myself. And it's been a little bit of a learning experience now, trying to find where I belong in these races. I think looking back, like after Worlds and stuff, I think I got to do what I did last year. But when you're with a bunch of elite people, like you have to start to figure out what works for you. Like obviously now, like Stewie, I talked to him a bit after Worlds, and like he goes to the front because that's his best race. You
gotta know your strengths and your weaknesses. Right?
Yeah, and like Jakob, for example, he's probably choked, but he lost the gold because he made like tactical mistakes that didn't like align with his strengths.
Yeah.
So what I'm kind of doing now, and what I see myself to get to the next level, is to like find out what my way of racing is.
It's crazy how like people think like track and field is just like you run, oh, it's such a simple sport, but then when you put into like all the strategy, all the technique that you need to, like the analysis that you guys actually like at a high level put into it, it's crazy. Because I don't analyze my races like that, and I feel like when you're like just starting in track, like you don't really think about it that way, but then once you're later on, every second counts, and like you guys all look at your strengths, your weaknesses, like how you're gonna you know, what's your best odds, you're putting your odds on your side, right? Which is crazy.
Yeah, like another realization is like in the prelim I ran like 3:37, just off of what would have been my PB last year, and closed in I think 54. And then you see like I'm in 9th place, and maybe I was like a little boxed and had another second, but there's like 8 people ahead of me that are also running 54 in the last lap. And like this is the top of the sport, but still it's like, what do I have to do to make sure I can be in that top 6 to make sure I qualify to the next round and not go on time? And that's kind of what I'm thinking towards next year, and that takes me like analyzing where I ran my best, which is that mile, and being like, okay, what did I do there? What can I do to like replicate that, so that I'm always like optimizing my chances? Yeah, because like everyone can run really fast, but it's just up to like centimeters at that point, like where you use your energy and all that stuff.
Yeah. So you are going to be continuing then for like years to come, because I know that med school is also picking up quite a bit.
Yeah, with med school, that's
so is
tough.
How's the like balance for that? Are you figuring it out pretty good? I mean, obviously you've been running amazing this year, qualifying for Worlds while doing it, but
yeah. So now the plan is to go through to 2024.
Okay.
I think coming into this year, I was like, ooh, 2022, if I make Eugene, I'll be happy with my career. But now that you have like the taste, and now that I've been able to handle it, I think in particular this year is going to be hard, just because it's like a lot of clinical time and stuff. And I think the fall, fortunately, is going to be my most difficult time when I'm actually not focused on competing. But come the new year, like 2023, my schedule will be okay. I'll probably have to do a lot of workouts on my own, but
even this year you've been doing a lot of workouts on your own, which is pretty impressive. It's kind of crazy because you're out there competing against guys that, you know, they just sleep, run, eat, repeat, and they just like chill all day. But like you gotta go and like deliver babies and like, or like, you know, you gotta go at the hospital and help out and do your practicum.
Yeah,
right?
But at the same time, like now that I'm reaching this level of Worlds, like I was reflecting on that, and like you're at the World Championships where most people's jobs is running, and if you're competing against them, they don't care like, oh, that guy was like a second behind me, but he's also doing that.
Don't care about that. They don't care about that. Yeah.
Well, that's his problem, you know. Like, so I kind of I'm now thinking like I have my running, and that's one whole world. But then at the same time, when I'm at school, like I don't talk about the running.
You have 2 separate
If I
worlds.
fail an exam because I'm running, they're like, well, quit running, right? So like it's really nice having this like double life in a way.
Does that help? Like the fact that you can like just put like, let's say you have a bad workout, you can just put it behind you and get to like the hospital. You think that helps you long term?
Yeah. Like every day in the hospital so far is just like a reflection of kind of like a privilege I get to have. Like at the same kind of privilege as me, like going to Worlds and being on this stadium and having the camera, everyone in the world seeing me run. It's the same sort of privilege as yesterday. I saw some really interesting and crazy things that not a lot of people get to experience. And
like what was that? Like at the hospital, you mean?
Oh, it's really sad. But I was in like the neonate intensive care unit yesterday. So it's where all the babies who either have some issues after they're born or like are born premature or stuff like that. And just like having this experience of like no questions asked, you're going up and like doing an examination on someone's baby and
Yeah.
they're not saying anything. Like that's just a cool experience, you know?
Totally.
Like listening to their heartbeat and like looking for things that could be wrong. Like it's just really cool in the same way that being at Worlds and like running at the highest level is cool. And I like having like a divide where I have these two lives and they don't really complement each other, but they kind of keep me balanced in a way too.
Yeah, because also, like, you know, like, if you're just a pro runner, like, let's say running is going bad, you don't really have anything else to look forward to, so it might put you in the well, like, mentally.
Yeah.
But I feel like for you, if, like, let's say, like, running is going bad, which, like, hopefully it won't, like, if it does a little bit, you kind of, like, well, I also have med school and all that to look forward to, right? So you can kind of, like, switch off from one thing to another. So that's dope. But, yeah, let's bring it back to, like, Worlds, though. Like, is there anything interesting you saw? Like, I know, like, Jakob and like Josh Kerr were doing a lot of noise, right? They were going back and forth about stuff, and like, I don't know, not talking shit, but like, they were both kind of cocky towards each other. Is there stuff you observed that was kind of cool?
Yeah, so you do feel some sort of tension. At the end of the day, most of the athletes are regular people. I think that you get that from track where most people aren't making crazy amounts of money. But like in the same way you have rivalries in your conference, within your team and stuff like that, there's some rivalries that go on behind the scenes. Personally, I did see some bantering from Jakob during Josh Kerr's heat. I ended up telling Josh Kerr later when I saw him what Jakob was saying.
Oh, he was like speaking while he was watching him run?
Yeah. So in the after race area, like you finish your race, you walk through a bunch of cameras and stuff like from all over the world. Yeah. Like CBC will stop you and interview you, and like it's kind of cool. Like everyone gets stopped by their GNAX. Everyone will get stopped by like their own country's news. But once you get out of that and your bags and stuff are waiting, they have TVs there, and you kind of just chill out there while you're putting your shoes on, talk with the other people a bit. But then I saw Jakob like watching Josh Kerr race and like giving him some shit.
What was he saying?
He was saying like, without some language, just basically making fun of his celebration and saying how easy it is to celebrate when you're running really slow.
Oh, didn't he do that in the 5K?
Yeah, I don't think he did some selling too.
So he kind of like said something, but then did it himself, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess he wasn't necessarily making fun of Josh Kerr. He was just saying that it is easy to celebrate when you're running slow, and I guess that's just saying how easy it was in a 5K since he was celebrating. I don't know, but like, yeah, you see some of that, and you cool down and run into people and like have some little post-race banter.
That's cool. Yeah.
But everyone's just a regular person.
It looked like the atmosphere was really awesome. Like you probably went out after, right? Like there was like the brand houses, like the New Balance house, the Nike house, the Adidas house, like around the stadium. Like, did you get to experience that after? And like, how was that? Yeah, we were talking about though, like earlier before that little interruption, we were asking about like how you got to experience like after your race. Like, did you go out? Did you go to those track houses? Like, how was that? The atmosphere looked electric, honestly.
Yeah, so the track houses themselves, for the most part, were just like places where sponsored athletes go to pick up like their special kits. So like Lindsay, for example, because she's New Balance has a little house there with like hospitality, and then she goes there and gets like a gear bag kind of, right?
Yeah.
So there wasn't any real parties and stuff that I saw based off of that.
Right, okay.
But there is this bar that was right near Hayward Field where every night I heard was bumping with people who like came in from all over the States. The one night I ended up going, there was a lot of BC people there, which was pretty cool. Like I think some of the coaches from the area who traveled down, they were there. And the craziest thing was just like the amount of love I got.
For real? That's sick.
Yeah. Like I went there, and like usually when you go out, like no one notices you. But like the coolest thing was like random people know.
That's awesome.
You know,
bro.
like not only like the locals, but like some randoms came up to me from Boston, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've been fans of watching you progress." Like one of them was at the Canadian mile record and remembers watching it, and it was just cool. Like you get a mix of people who like appreciate you and know you from the sport, but then you also get these like high caliber athletes. Like I saw, what's his name? Well, my favorite steepler, the Kenyan Kipruto.
Kipruto?
Yeah, he just walks in with a beer, like in some Jordans and stuff like that. And like usually don't fangirl too much about athletes because I'm like, oh, I want to be one of them. I don't want to like take pictures.
Yeah, your competition.
But I said to someone nearby, I'm like, he's actually my favorite steepler, like such an inspiration, and I had to take a picture with him. But it was just like
it's
cool,
also,
like seeing people like that and like again like they're regular people, even if they're super super good at sport, like everyone's down to have some fun and relax and doesn't take it too seriously all the time.
Yeah, it's probably weird because you always see them in split shorts and like singlets, and now you see them in their like regular attire.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like probably just different, right?
yeah.
Like Craig Engel said, you guys are all regular people that just happen to turn left really fast.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. Except if you jump or something like that. Yeah, and like people do other things. Like there's some, just like me having like balance with school and running. Like some people can afford to have more balance with like social life and stuff like that. And like there's definitely people that surprise me even on Team Canada about their ability to let loose a bit. I don't know if I want
to turn up pretty hard.
Yeah,
you don't need to name drop, but like
yeah.
Yeah,
but there's people like that, and then there's other people that are way more reserved, and
yeah, it's like that.
Their best life for running is like getting to bed on time every night, having salad for dinner, you know, and
eating some grass.
Yeah, eating some grass,
We
you
know
know.
a couple
But everyone's
people like
different,
that.
and you just kind of do what you do, what makes you happy, what kind of optimizes running.
Is there anyone you thought was going to be a little bit more like extroverted, like any runners you see, and then you meet them and they're kind of like just in their shell?
Oh, I can't.
No need to name.
Everyone was
Yeah,
pretty...
actually, yeah, don't. Yeah.
Actually, there's just one little funny story. Like, I was hanging out with these OGs from UBC, like the old coach at UBC and stuff like that. And then one guy was going on about wanting me to meet everyone. So I met this like Eamon Coleman, I think his name is. I can't remember, but he's like a previous like world record holder for the mile. I think he ran like 3:49. So I go and meet this guy, and this guy's got like a lineup of people that apparently gonna meet him.
But
right?
that's in Canada or the States?
No, he's like Irish or something.
Okay,
like
so
that.
he had the UK
yeah,
mile record?
like a really fast runner. So I go and meet him, take an awkward photo with him, whatever. He's probably drinking too, doesn't really know what's going on. And then as soon as I get back, this guy's like, "Okay, now I want you to meet Matthew Centrowitz." And I'm like, "Okay, Matthew Centro, like his dad, right?" Because I just met this old guy. I'm gonna follow this guy, and then I go up and it's like the Matthew Centro. It's like 2016.
It's young Centro
Olympic champ, yeah. And the same thing is like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Why am I like meeting this guy? Like I'm gonna be on the line with him next year." Like,
so this UBC OG, like a coach, he was just trying to get you to meet these athletes, like
yeah.
So I feel like what he was doing is he was trying to use you so that he could meet them.
I don't know, because he's like, "Oh, I go way back
trying
with
to
Matt
network himself.
Centrowitz," and I'm like, "Yeah, probably the dad," but
he's just trying to
it was kind of weird.
do some low-key flexes on you.
So Central was at Worlds though?
Yeah. Well, he's just recovering from surgery.
Yeah, but
he's
been
like an
gro-
organ.
Yeah, that's why
guy.
we weren't sure, because he's been in like this rebuild.
Yeah.
He's coming back to prove everyone wrong.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But
Did you talk to him about like some stuff, or you just hang out a bit with him? Or not?
Not really. I just like, this was a crowded place, and I'm like, already the introduction's a little random. Where you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, nice to meet you," like, you know, like I'm his competitor. So I did my little like, "Wow, like it's like I'm flattered to meet you," whatever. But I was like more like, "Hope your recovery is going well," and stuff like that. Yeah.
So
and then like saw him throughout the night, but more casual. Like I think me, for example, like as much as you like the praise, I think you appreciate when people treat you like a normal person.
Yeah,
Because like
yeah.
90% of the time you're just a normal person, and like everyone's normal and doesn't want to be like put on a pedestal for just their running, right?
And so this was all at the bar after
Yeah.
the races?
Which one was that? Was
This
the
was the
Wild
first
Duck?
bar.
Is that how it's called?
That was the Wild Duck,
Wild Duck?
Is that like an old school bar, like an old school Oregon bar?
I think it has a lot of track history, but in terms of like the vibe, it was just like,
Because
A little modern.
that
Like
pizza
a-
place was dope.
oh,
That
yeah, I
pizza
didn't end up
place-
going this time.
It was like so old school, and they had like all like pictures of like track
yeah.
and field stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it's called, but
Is that the one where
Trackdown Pizza.
Trackdown Pizza.
yeah,
that
where
was sick.
Cooper and Cole were like handing out their pizzas? Or...
Probably, yeah.
Similar vibe to that. Like
That's
in
cool,
terms,
though.
just like a bar version where it's just like standard, not
Yeah.
like super
Yeah.
crazy.
The reason I was asking though is like because like was Central going crazy? Because I mean we've seen him party after Kipchoge broke like 2 hours in the marathon. Like that guy was going wild on the camera.
Oh really? I didn't see that.
Wait, what was that about? I didn't remember.
Oh,
seeing
at the
that.
after party after like Kipchoge went under 2, they had like a big thing, and this guy was like just going crazy, like chanting and going hard in the after party. So I was just wondering if he's like that all the time or only.
Well, I
when,
mean,
like,
he's
history.
injured right now. He's probably trying to like protect his Achilles, right?
Oh,
If
that-
he goes hard, he might rip it again.
Yeah, I didn't-
It's his Achilles, right?
I think
That's
it's
messed
knee.
up.
Yeah.
Knee?
Something.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
in
He
the
had a
leg.
surgery. Like,
Yeah, I didn't notice anything crazy like that. Like everyone's going a little bit wild, I think. And like, yeah, again, you don't want to like. I guess he has eyes on him all the time, especially when he's in like a track thing. But didn't know.
We need him back, man. He's good for the sport, no lie.
Yeah,
he's good. I want to see him banter with Jakob Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah.
I want to see him like, go back and forth with him, and then Josh Kerr. I feel like those three would kind of like do some solid banter if they were to get cocky together.
100%.
Yeah, that's the Brooks thing was funny last.
Central's a good talker. He's a good talker for real.
Yeah, and they keep the young guys humble too. Not that Josh Kerr is old. I mean, or Central even.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to diss the guy.
I think Central's like 30.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got some time left.
Yeah.
What's next? So what's next for you is NICAX, and then right now you're just getting in shape for that again. No off season.
Actually, funny enough, maybe this is just another example of everyone being a little different. I had a very good fall last year, and one of the things I didn't do was take any serious time off. So like while I was in the village, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I'm gonna take like 2 months off this year."
Wait, 2 months?
I
off?
need a reset, and I was like, "Yo,
there's no way."
This last year's the first time I didn't take 2 weeks off completely because I just like did jogs, kind of like 2 or 3 days or so. Just kind of did that, and then had my best cross season ever. And then usually I get injured when I try to come back too fast because I'm trying to catch you young guys.
Yeah, talk about that too, because you could have made a Canadian team at cross, right? You were third at Canadian Nationals, and it's like people thought Cam was an 800 meter, like pure 800 meter runner, but then here he is, like getting third at our national championship in the cross country, right behind John Gay and Charles.
First time he fully takes cross serious, and he comes third.
First time. So like, talk a bit about that. Even like, it was a muddy course, it was kind of messed up, but like, you probably decided not to go because you wanted to like prioritize track.
Yeah, so I used to joke that. I think it's generally a little bit easier to make a cross team because not everyone shows up for nationals.
Yeah, and, like Mohamed, Justin Knight weren't there.
Yeah, and like there's more people on the team. I used to joke that like my biggest goal was always to make a Canadian team, and I was like, yeah, of course it's gonna be my cross country for my first ever one, and then it was, and then I had to deny it because it was like a week after World Indoors, and I think the email for that one came out first or something like that, and I was like, my first ever Team Canada, and I have to say no. But yeah, that was a pretty fun experience. Again, didn't really believe it was happening until there like a K to go. Luke gave me a little challenge, and then I was expecting him to just sail into third place, and he didn't go, and I was like,
strong guy, man.
Wow, am I actually gonna medal in cross country?
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what's your pre-race routine?
Pre-race
couple of weird things you do.
Talk about like those the day things. Before, or
like day of, like the stuff when I met you in Oregon, like the virtual stuff you're doing there.
It's tough. I think my weirdest one, maybe that people wouldn't agree with, is that I like to have a shower right before I leave. So I like have a shower, get super clean, brush my teeth, put on baby powder and all that stuff. Like stuff I don't.
Wait, what's the baby powder about? What's that about?
I don't know. Gold Bond powder.
You throw baby powder on where?
Yeah, just usually in because the split shorts or not the split shorts. The
half tights.
Half tights are pretty sticky. So I actually learned that from Ryan Brockerville, the OG steepler from SFU.
Yeah, 834
he like
steepler.
gave me some once after a run, and I was like, oh okay.
Like chafing prevention, or
honestly, I don't even know.
I've just
like every practice I do, and I wear half tights all the time.
Yeah.
I never put it in, except I do that on race day.
It's a race thing.
Gold,
You do that, it activates your mind. You know it's race time.
Yeah.
What else do you do? Is there any other things? Should we move on to something else?
Nothing crazy. I think they're like everyone gets super nervous, and I noticed that when I was in the village, like hanging out with other people who were on race day. It's like no matter who you are, you're anxious the day of the race for no reason, really. Like you run every day.
You bet.
So just the usual.
Caffeine?
Have a big breakfast. Have coffee. Have a coffee before the race.
Like just a cup of coffee, or because when I saw you had the little canned cold brew.
Yeah, so usually I would go for the can, but I think one of my races this year, this is actually maybe I don't know if it's a funny story, but I forgot my can when I went to the track, and then I was like, oh, I need a coffee. So then I was walking out of the track, and Tin Man all shows up with iced coffees from Starbucks, and I asked them, I'm like, where's the Starbucks? I need to go. And then went to the Starbucks and got a coffee like them. So
Well,
just, like,
Starbucks
good
now
memories.
they sell, they're only in the States though. I haven't seen in Canada yet. Like the nitro cold brew cans.
Yeah, I think I've
Yeah,
had to
you can get
resort
that.
to that once.
Yeah.
You can get that at the grocery store. You can grab that.
Are they in Canada now?
I'm sure they. I don't know about the
I've
nitro
only
cold
seen-
brew,
I've
but I
only
know they
seen it in
have
the
like the
States.
ones with milk and caramel and all that.
Yeah, like
all
the
that,
triple shot.
all that
energy.
stuff. That
Yeah, because I saw you do it, chug the coffee before the race, and so I started doing it,
Oh,
and it was getting me amped. Like
Yeah.
it helps.
I know. John Gay. He like drinks Red Bulls before his races.
yeah,
straight
a
up.
lot of people do
So,
the Red Bull. It's
yeah.
kind of whatever your stomach can handle.
Yeah, facts.
Um,
Some people take caffeine pills even.
The only thing that I'm wondering about though is caffeine dries your mouth out.
Right,
It gets you
and-
dehydrated a little bit too.
Yeah, a little bit dehydrated. And I remember in World Indoors, I think I was listening to like Coffee Club, and they said they were avoiding caffeine because the track there was so hot and dry. And like I finished that race and I thought I was in a desert, like because I had like a lot of coffee that day and then went there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so that's the one thing I'm like, maybe I need to adjust this and find a way to like have a more wet mouth because
Well,
every race, like even I was doing interviews after Worlds and like my lip is like sticking to my
Yeah.
teeth. 'Cause I'm like I can't even talk because
Yeah.
like my mouth is so dry. But
Yeah, runners in general are just like coffee fiends.
Yeah,
Though. I feel
like-
like you're always tired. You're always like doubling, and like you just drink another coffee. So like we're gonna do like a shameless plug on Boston Blends, who sponsored this podcast. They're gonna slap us a bunch of coffee. So shout out to them. They're a Vancouver brand that's supporting just this podcast. It's not like a definite like partnership or anything, but their coffee's pretty solid. So
they do runners and also doctors.
Oh,
They
sure.
love
yeah,
their
so you're,
coffee
like-
too when they're up overnight. You know,
he has
you gotta stay focused.
he has it twice as bad.
Yeah,
twice as bad.
so coffee comes in clutch.
What's your like record? I don't expect you to keep count, but you think you've gone like 6 cups in a day, 7?
Honestly, maybe like 3.
Oh,
But yo,
yeah.
even like, because for example in Portland, what you have 24-hour shifts when you when you go work. That's crazy. You're on your legs 24 hours working, and then what? Do you practice after? Do you practice before? Like, when's your training fit into that?
A couple times I practiced after, like I was in like North Van and then woke up at 7 or whatever, came straight to practice.
God.
Like we have the 24
Wait,
hour
so what
shifts,
would be,
but
like, your
you have time
typical-
to sleep if there's nothing going on,
Oh.
right?
But you sleep there at the hospital?
There's
Yeah,
like
they
a-
have, like,
you said there was
rooms.
like a dorm room or something.
It's like a dorm
Oh.
room. They call it call rooms. The same thing. It's just like a little bed.
Okay, just before we wrap up here, we're gonna have a little couple like rapid fire questions. I guess Carlos, you can start. I know you have a couple about what goes on before races start.
Yeah, so I've noticed you always throw water on you, on your head, on your arms. Like, I've started doing that as well. Like, what's the rationale behind that? And have you seen other people like do like cool like pre-race stuff?
So now I do that before every race because I found out that, like I said before, I don't really love the heat, and it helps you cool down. I think the first time I did that was last year in Montreal, but now I just do it every time because it helps me cool down. People in the call room were doing that a little bit on the second day because it was hotter. But the thing is, like, so many people were in there, like, doing the whole slapping thing.
Yeah, slapping
they're
your
like-
legs, right?
Yeah,
that
like,
hard?
everyone's doing that stuff so hard, and they have, like, red marks on their legs.
What?
And you're like,
Is it to bring blood to your legs, maybe?
I don't know. I was wondering, though, but they're all, like, that's the sound of the call room. It's just, like, you know.
I'm hoping
Is
this
anyone
does not
talking?
destroy our viewers' ears.
I mean, okay,
The slaps in the mic.
not many people were talking. I think I was being annoying because I like went to the washroom twice and then like got out of line to go get like the transponder sign and stuff. But yeah, and then the Kenyans, they love to throw stuff on them. Like, actually, this is a funny story from World Indoors, but like, remember GNAC meets, like, you take your singlet off, right? And then they're like, oh, we're gonna DQ you because like you're in the whatever. I literally saw like this Kenyan like throw his pants down. He's wearing like tidy whities underneath, and he like brings his shirt up, and there's like a coach behind him like rubbing his body with like cream and stuff.
What?
And it was like right in the middle of like everyone warming up, like inside. We're
So
right
he's
beside
like
the call
almost
room, just like
basically naked.
basically naked, yeah, getting like rubbed by his coach from behind. So
Did he run well?
I can't remember who it was. He might have.
He's
yeah.
getting all lubed up right before the race.
Yeah.
Gotta be loose, gotta be smooth.
So yeah, the biggest thing is the creams and the smacks.
This-
Bet. Yo, so we were gonna ask as well, like, how do you like chill out, other than like, because you're always on mentally, like racing, training, or med school. Like, how do you chill out? Like, what do? You watch movies? Do you listen to music? Hit the spa? What do you do?
I don't know. I kind of just like when I have some time, I like to schedule time with friends to go like go out to eat and stuff, have a beer. So, not really into Netflix or anything lately because for one, I don't feel like I have the time to commit to a whole series, but also I never know what to watch.
Music.
Just
What about
like
music?
to chill.
What's your
Lately, I've
favorite
been
artist?
into some R&B.
R&B. Old stuff or like new?
What?
Like
More like a couple years old. I'm just kind of going with it. Apple Music.
Boys to
Like,
Men.
tells me
What's
to
an artist?
do.
What's an artist?
It's like Masego, Daniel Caesar.
Oh, that's fire.
You ever heard of Boys to Men? No, that's maybe too old. I don't know.
Maybe I gotta look for new stuff. I kind of tend to get into this thing where I like listen to one artist for like a month or two, and I just go through all their albums, and that's all I listen to for a month or two, and then I find the next one. So yeah, I don't even know who it is right now.
Yo, random other question. If you could go for a run, like a conversational run with anyone that like dead or alive, doesn't need to be a runner. It could be like an artist. It could be anyone. Who would you do it with, and why? Like, what would you talk about?
You. Yeah, we
Thanks.
have some great conversations on runs.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. No, let's see, like a celebrity or something like that. Who do I really look up to?
Yeah.
Are they allowed to lie? Like, do they have to answer all my questions?
No, like just
Yeah,
if you
it's
want to
just
just spend
them.
time with them, just anybody.
Yeah, you can chill with them basically.
I don't know. Maybe Matt Centrowitz Sr. Because like
senior?
I was so excited to meet him. Like I don't know much about him. Like, yeah, probably him.
Matt
Maybe.
Centrowitz Senior.
Yeah.
We could probably
Just joking. I don't know.
we could probably make that happen.
That's a loaded question
Maybe.
to pick one person.
We know where he works.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll go with Matt Centrowitz Senior then.
Sure.
Anybody, like it. They could be.
Like, it can literally be Elon Musk, bro.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm not a
Elvis
fan of
Presley.
that guy. You guys know me. Like I always hate on people who do well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I always find like some
You'll
reason
find
to be
something
like,
to pick on,
Yeah,
something to
to
pick
pick on.
Okay,
Yeah,
Dr.
because
P prays
you're
on
always
your
striving for
downfall.
perfection, right? So like in order to get yourself better, you kind of have to be like, you know what? The people I looked up to, they're not perfect either. You know,
Yeah.
You don't want people better than you.
Yeah.
You want to be the best.
right? That's why you're in the sport.
That's why next Tuesday, absolute middle distance showdown, South Surrey.
Let's go! I can't wait to see who comes out on top.
You're so random.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about as many rapid fire questions as I
Yeah,
could
we
come
didn't
up
have
with.
too much in mind here.
It was just a
but,
couple.
yeah.
Oh, what about like what's in my bag or something? No.
What's in your
Do
bag?
you want us to
That's
ask
not
what's in your bag?
like, don't you have a stethoscope?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day when I'm confident enough about a race to give it to you, and then you're gonna
That'd be
throw
cool.
it on me after the race.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Jose has a fanboy question.
This is GQ 10 things you can't live without.
Okay. Wait, like 10 things I can't go
10
on a trip
items.
without? 10 items.
Just-
10 items.
Yeah.
Okay. Like laptop, Garmin watch,
That's two.
dental floss, because you can find it. You can find like a toothbrush anywhere, but like I really like to floss, and it's really important.
The Horizon hoodie, fourth.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Nice fire clothes.
Horizon shorts. That's a fifth.
No.
Okay.
Running
shorts
running
are
a running
the
outfit.
kind of dust, eh?
Yeah.
A running outfit, because you never know when you're
Not
gonna
our
get a
best
chance.
seller.
A running outfit, let's just say, like that involves like shoes, everything
Yeah,
like that.
Facts. Yo, for anyone watching this, September 10th, we're gonna have a new Horizon drop. So all this gear that we have here is the OG stuff. We're never gonna restock this. You can pull up on our website, and we'll have a bunch of stuff on sale soon. But September 10th, we'll make some noise for sure. We'll make some noise.
Exactly. Get those Horizon shorts while you still can.
Yeah, get all that Horizon gear while you still can, because it's not gonna be restocked still. But yeah, thanks for being on the podcast, Cam.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I see you every day, but yeah, we just had to. It's kind of like a weird thing where it's like we see you every day, so we're like, oh, we could do a podcast whenever with Cam.
Yeah.
And
Plus
like we
we-
had like so many other like people and guests, and like haven't even had like our best runner from the squad. But yeah, hopefully you get a solid sponsor soon. Right now,
That'd be pretty
Horizon's
cool.
supporting you a bit how we can, but you're gonna get a sponsor, I'm sure. We'll figure
Yeah, let's
something out.
hope.
Especially
Let's
now.
hope we
Double
got-
world qualifier, Canadian record
Yeah.
holder. Like,
Yeah. Ooh.
resume
got
keeps
this.
on building.
If sponsors are watching this, you'll sponsor the man. God damn. Wake up. Don't sleep on the stock. Skirt.